What are my 10 favorite books on mindset? My favorite books to help you get your mind right. Hi, my name is Joe Soto. I'm the CEO of Revenue Inbound and joesototraining.com. And I'm going to take a few moments just to share 10 books that have had a profound impact on me, on my life, on my thinking. And some of them you may own and some of them you may not. And for the ones that you do own, great. I would encourage you to read them. For the ones that you don't own, I would encourage you to order them. Okay, so number one, I'll kind of put this in order. Put these in order. I just have a stack of them here to my left. This one's probably this is probably my all-time favorite. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. And I recommend this book all the time. You know, it says it's an internationally best-selling classic. It is a classic. This is the updated and expanded version. Over 30 million people have read this book. And there's a reason. There's probably no better book to help you improve your self-image, to help you get your mindset on the right track. It was written by a gentleman who was a MD. He was a plastic surgeon, and he realized that even if he performed plastic surgery on people, they still would come out of surgery saying they looked ugly because they needed to look good on the inside first. And he helps you with a whole lot of exercises on how to use imagery, how to improve your self-image, and really how to think in a way that allows you to be much more successful in your life. And this book really just shook me to the core when I first read it. It hit home with a lot of the examples, and it gives you a lot of interesting exercises and things that you can practice and do. Get the book. I recommend the book. Napoleon Hill, 2 of his books made this list for me. I really love Think and Grow Rich, of course. That's probably a given. You probably knew that was going to be on the list. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, I'd be surprised. So if you haven't, buy it and read it. It's like, it really is the staple for all things personal and professional development. It's the starting point. A lot of people contribute their success to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. This book is phenomenal. I have this book underlined. I have this book earmarked. I have this book in several different editions on my shelf. His understanding of how desire and decision and imagination and how persistence, how all of that works in your mind is incredible. His stories are incredible. Read it. I have a mastermind called the Organized Acceleration Mastermind, which is really named after his principles. This is a high-end mastermind where people get together 3 times a year with myself and with Jeffrey Gitomer, who's the author of the Sales Bible and the Little Red Book of Selling, based on principles of what Napoleon Hill set forward in terms of how a mastermind, how putting together a group of people can help you achieve and accomplish things greater than you ever could do on your own. Came from this book. So I owe him a lot of credit. And his other book I personally really love, this is maybe my favorite by him actually, is The Law of Success. This is the original 1925 edition. As you can see, it's not small, but it's an in-depth study of Napoleon Hill's principles and work. And it's a companion copy to Think and Grow Rich. All right, another book I read early on called The Magic of Thinking Big. Hopefully you can see this okay. By David Schwartz. This book was one of the first books I read in my early 20s. You can see it says more than 4 million copies sold. I think it's much more than that now. The first 2 chapters of this book are incredible, but the whole book is amazing. If you ever wonder how people get to a point where they're thinking big, this is the book for you. This book helps you think bigger. And my guess is, if you haven't read this book, you could use a shot of thinking big. Most people I run into who say, I could never do that, or that seems like that would be, I wonder how long it would take me to do that. They just don't know how to think big enough. And I'm always running into people that make me think bigger. This book helps you think bigger. All right. I'm always recommending Stephen Pressfield's books. He wrote a few books that I really love. Do the Work, Turning Pro, and The War of Art. Okay. It says break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. This book, not very big, is punchy. I would describe it as a punchy kick in the ass. Okay, you read this book and you're not going to be stuck anymore. Okay, All of his books I'd recommend. I'd get Turning Pro, and I'd get Do the Work, and I'd buy The War of Art, and I'd read them all. I've never read a book probably more times than I have his books. And part of it is it's easy reading. So sometimes the chapters are this long. He talks about this chapter I just turned to, I just happened to thumb to, is called Professionals and Amateurs. And he talks about how amateurs are distracted and professionals are focused. And just, he gives examples of how you can make that so in your life. It's a mindset kick in the butt, okay? All right. Jeffrey Gitomer, my partner in my mastermind I was just talking about, who wrote the Little Red Book of Selling, which is the best-selling sales book of all time. He wrote the Sales Bible, which is top 10 best-selling sales book of all time, I believe it is. But he also wrote the Little Gold Book of Yes Attitude. And there's a lot that makes up this book. He says it's the thoughts behind your words you speak that create your attitude. I've never met somebody that has a more optimistic attitude, who's always thinking positive, who knows how to get you to think positive and how to get your mind right. He quotes Earl Nightingale's, "You become what you think about all day long," but his book is really good. I bought this for all my children, and I have a lot of them. I have 9 children. For the ones that can read, I've already bought and purchased signed copies of this book for them, which you can buy signed copies off his website. Okay. I love this book. I talk and quote from this book a lot. This is one of the newer books on mindset that's come out. It's called Mindset by Dweck. And this is The New Psychology of Success. This is a book about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. That's the key principles from this book. I mean, the guys that wrote Made to Stick and Switch, which is 2 great marketing books, Chip Heath and Dan Heath, they wrote everyone should read this book. That's all it says, because it helps you become a better parent, a better business person. It helps you help your kids do better in school. It helps you with your business relationships. And when you understand this difference between a fixed and a growth mindset, somebody who believes that the way that they are is the way that they are, and that, growth is something that's given to them or opened up for them, versus somebody who says, I have a growth mindset and anything's possible and I can go beyond the possibilities or limits of my mind. And how do you do that? This book sets the stage. Really good. Dale Carnegie wrote a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but I think his best book, my favorite book anyway, is this one, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. As the time I'm doing this video, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and everyone's scared and fearful right now, and people are panicked and people are worried about all kinds of things. This book will help you change that. Okay, this is one of the earlier editions. That's why it looks this way. He shows you how to break the habit of worry, which in and of itself is a frame. Most people don't realize they have a habit of worrying, and it becomes a habit. I mean, if you know people that are worry warts, that's the expression people use. So they worry all the time. That's a habit. You can break it. I would encourage you to buy the book. It's really good. Actually, one of the best things about this book is that at the end of every chapter or every section, he does basically like a recap. He calls it In a Nutshell. You can see it here, where he outlines all the key principles of each chapter. So how I originally read this book was I went through and I read, and this one's even earmarked right here. I went through and I read all the nutshells at the end of each section, each chapter, and then I went back and read the book for the stories to assimilate the material. Really good. One of my favorite authors, Wayne Dyer, who passed away in like 2015. This is a couple of my favorite books by him. He wrote Excuses Begone. It's how to change lifelong self-defeating thinking habits. What a great byline, right? Excuses Beyond. Just buy the book if you tend to make excuses, which is all of us. I have read it probably half a dozen times. He also wrote Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, which is a book based on the Tao Te Ching. Am I saying that right? And it's like 88 verses that he basically translates into modern day thinking to help you with your mindset. It's phenomenal. I bought the audio book to it too because I wanted to hear it every day in my car. It's phenomenal. And I know he's had a profound impact on my life. I own all of Wayne Dyer's books. And here's like a bonus book. Okay, so that was 10, I think. So there's a bonus one. One of my friends and early mentors, Rex Stephen Sykes, who is one of the first people trained in design human engineering by Richard Bandler, who's the co-creator and founder of NLP. I've had extensive training in NLP, from practitioner to master practitioner, trainer training with Richard Bandler, and DHE, design human engineering training. And Rex's understanding of how the mind works and mindset is second to none. So he wrote a book called Life on Your Own Terms. It's a newer book. He jumps around a lot in the book with mindset topics. It says creating the life you want, developing a champion mindset. He's really good, and you can't read the book and not think better, not think more productively, not think more efficiently, and not think with a lot more directed happiness in your life, because he shows you how to do it in the book. So I'm glad he finally put out a book, and I'm encouraging people to buy it. It's really good. So there you have it. Those are my favorite books on mindset. I have a lot of books that touch on mindset. These are just some of the if I sat and asked myself the question, I said, if I had to pick out 10 books in my library that were some of my favorite on mindset and why, what would they be? And I just shared them with you. So hopefully you found them valuable. I'll put the links down below. There'll probably be affiliate links to Amazon. I'll probably make it a couple cents a book if you buy one. But these are books that have a profound impact on my life. And my guess is they would have a profound impact on yours. All right. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think.